I decided to start my own video game company, and it was a disaster at first. Our first game took almost 3 years to complete. It made no money. Second game, the same. Third game, the same. Up and until my ninth game, I almost made no money.
What gives you the motivation to keep building even today?
That I love trying. Even though I fail, I still feel good because creating something that I dreamed of. In most of the world, we are like brainwashed by America because as a kid, you watch those Hollywood movies and cartoons, so you always have this dream like, will I have this life?
You get a taste of success, and then when you come to the United States, it's easier to multiply it because there's so much opportunities, there's less red tape.
It gave me the room to grow my business exponentially. It is like 10 times bigger than what I was able to achieve back home.
Maybe you can share with me some of the challenges you got as somebody moving from Turkey to America, first year, and trying to do a business here.
So I came to the US with a B1, B2 visa, like a regular tourist visa, and I fell in love with the culture and everything, and then I managed to get an O1 visa, and after like spending almost 2 years in here now, I have decided to file for permanent residency. Who knows, we'll see.
Hello my friends, and welcome back to the Visa to Venture podcast. In this episode, we have an amazing founder from Turkey, Mr. Dora Ozsoy, who is the founder of Rujdak, an innovative video game company producing specifically indie games. The story goes all the way back to Turkey when Dora went to school and was creating video games at the age of 14. On paper, he was literally drafting those like board games. That was his original passion. From there, after finishing engineering school, he started building video games, built over 10 times until finally they had success in one game. And then he moved to the United States, got an O1 visa, and started building Rujdak as the leading company for indie video games, changing the gaming industry. Exciting talk about how it started, how he's doing now, how AI is going to change the game, and the future of being a YouTube creator and video game maker. Super excited. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'll see you on the other side. So first of all, Dora, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. You know, as you know, the show is featuring a lot of entrepreneurs who are coming to the United States from all over the world and starting amazing companies. And you know, you are one of those. So thanks a lot for being here. You're based in New York right now, right?
Yeah, I started this journey in Las Vegas, and now I'm in New York, and thank you for the invite.
Of course. So Dora, you know, you know, we'll talk a little bit about your company and the things that you build. But I'm curious, at what point in your journey you ever thought about the United States and making your professional career here? Because I know you started, you know, in your industry in Turkey before, but maybe you can kind of follow, you know, give us a background about what did you do in Turkey and how did you actually ended up coming to the United States, building what you're building.
Yeah, sure. I've been working for my career in Turkey for almost like 29 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 29 years old, but I've been in the gaming industry for about 10 years. And at one point, I was always thinking about like, would I be happier abroad? Would I like feel better in a different country? But you know, it's a very hard journey to leave everybody and everything you know behind. So I figured the only way to know the answer is to try that. So I came to the US with a B1, B2 visa, like a regular tourist visa to, uh, as you know, like it allows you to stay up to 6 months. And I
Right.
decided to try that, like stay there for 6 months, to see how it feels. And I fell in love with the culture and everything. And then I managed to get an O1 visa for my business. And since the US is like much more business friendly compared to other countries, and the taxes are at least like yearly and quarterly, in Turkey you have to file taxes every month, which creates a huge amount of like work for you, which doesn't allow you to focus on your business. You have to spend that money each month. You have to fight with bureaucracy each month, but in the US, like you can keep that money running until the taxes are due in April, and like it's much less bureaucratic work. So it actually helped a lot in terms of like growing my business. And after like spending almost 2 years in here now, I have decided to file for permanent residency, which I hope I will get, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. So you're going to go through the O1, EB1A round right now,
Yes.
residency. I think a lot of founders that I talk to, they say that there's a big difference between building and creating their company in the foreign country where they come from versus the shift of moving to the United States. What are some of the differences you've seen in the way? Because you started. Maybe you can give us a bit of a background before that about how did you get into the video games industry, the creation, and you're also a YouTuber, so that's also a lot of our audience, a lot of the creators that we interview on the show. They're either creators and they build startups as a result of their. But maybe you can give us a bit of a background about how did you start and what you're doing, what exactly did you do, and the transition from building in Turkey to the US.
Okay, sure. So, as I was studying software engineering in the university, I decided to make some YouTube videos for like a bit of fun because I like creating and sharing and a bit of like pocket money as I was a student, and it
Yeah.
started taking off. And I have saw that the potential for social media and being an influencer back then, like we're talking about 10 years ago, was huge. So I put my university like to the background and I focused more on my YouTube career, being an influencer. And as that journey went on, I started accumulating capital. And I also thought about ways to, as an influencer, you always have to think about monetizing your audience, right? You can sell merchandise, you can like get tips and donations. They're like Twitch, Kick, YouTube, whatever subscriptions, like you get paid by your audience monthly. Like there are a lot of ways. And since I'm software engineering student and I also like always wanted to work on games industry, I decided to start my own video game company. And it was a disaster at first. Our first game took almost 3 years to complete. It made no money. Second game, the same. Third game, the same. Up and until my ninth game, I almost made no money. I was just
Oh wow.
gaining money from YouTube, putting in my video game company, getting nothing in return. But with the ninth game, we were really successful. But at that point, as I said, the bureaucracy and the monthly accounting things and taxation in Turkey was really getting to me. Plus, I just didn't feel really free and happy in there. And I always say this jokingly, like in most of the world, we are like brainwashed by America because as a kid you watch those Hollywood movies and cartoons and but once you get out of your house it's not like that in the street where you live. So you always have this dream like, will I have this life, will I have this clean streets, will I see this beauty? And as a kid I thought in the future my country would be like that, but as you grow up you see your country doesn't become like that, so you have to go there. And as I said, when I come here, I really liked it. Um, it was a bit difficult to adjust to the culture at first to see like how people communicate and stuff, but business wise, I think US is really business friendly, especially I started this in Nevada. It is super easy to set up your company. It is super easy to file your taxes. Um, and like it gave me the room to grow my business exponentially. It is like 10 times bigger than what I was able to achieve back home.
Right. And that's exactly some of the feedback that I get from entrepreneurs is that, you get a taste of success. And then when you come to the United States, it's easier to multiply it because there's so much opportunities. There's less red tape. They always talk about the red tape. I mean, Turkey is part of, Turkey is in Europe and it's still the same thing, right? You have to go through, get permission and you have to get this. And it's not It's not that simple to advance. Now, so you found success in video games. You said the ninth game, and it's interesting because I was at a conference and I interviewed one of the guys who started Rovio, and he said that I think he said that they had about 175 attempts for the app, and on the
Oh, yeah.
178 they were able to do it. And people ask him, why did you keep going? And he said, it doesn't matter the failures because we had a vision and we saw what's going to be at the end. And every single failure, we got closer to the final result. And I'm just curious, what gives you the motivation to keep building even today?
Okay. So just a bit of extra information first. Um, they call Turkey the Schrodinger's country because we are not exactly in the European Union.
Yeah.
We are like right in the center of like right in the border of Middle East, like most west part of Middle East and most east part of Europe, basically. Like, and a little part of Turkey is in Europe. So it's like we have some European values and some Middle Eastern values, but not exactly in none of them. So it's like, but we still have a huge bureaucracy and we do have red tape. You're right on that, exactly.
Right.
And the key to trying again and again for me is that I love trying. I'm not doing this to like, oh, I want to gain X amount of money or I want to sell this many copies of games. I already like creating things. I already enjoy making video games a lot. So even though I fail, uh, I still feel good because I ended up creating something that I dreamed of, that I made a video game that I wanted to play. That's the main reason I'm making video games. So, regardless of the result, I like trying again and again, basically.
Right, right. Do you think that, especially when I talk to people who are coming from countries where family is a core part of culture, and I know Turkey is one of those countries where family is very important. You probably, I assume, you probably grew up in a family where education was important. Your parents had some goals for you. It's very different from some people who are growing up in the U.S. and founders that I meet here. The family attachment is different for people. I'm originally from Israel, so it's similar culture like yours. How would you say your family upbringing contributed to your business success and what you're doing today?
I see. Yeah, Turkey is a more family-oriented country, but like uh, my parents are a little bit more individualist and Western, and my dad was also like he always started to run his own business. He tried
Oh, okay.
areas and many different things. So they were always supportive of me doing my own thing. My dad values freedom a lot, so he also raised me with like having core values on freedom. So they were always supportive of me doing whatever I want. They really cared about college and saved a lot of money to be able to
Right,
send me to college. And yeah, that's
right.
basically it.
So that's what I'm saying. So you had the support and you had the feeling of fulfillment growing up to know that this gives you some confidence to build what you build,
Absolutely, yeah.
right? Now, so you came to the United States. You came. Where did you study here?
In the US, I didn't study, but in Turkey, I studied software engineering.
So you studied in stuff, and then you came here and you started working here. Came on a B1,
Yes,
B2, and then what? How would you describe the process of getting the O1? Because a lot of the founders that listen to the show, they come here as visitors. They're coming to visit to try to prospect for what they can do, but there's a lot of confusion about the process. What would you say? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what it took you to get the O1, how complicated was it, and what do you think are some of the challenges in the process of building a case like this?
so my lawyers did most of the work, so I don't know how complicated. They were really helpful. Um, after I came here with B1 and B2, I joined this newly founded company, and I also like helped found it, called Lazy Otter, which is a video game marketing agency,
Okay.
basically. Um,
I've heard of them.
it helps different video game companies reach larger audiences and influencers and stuff. And since I am an influencer and I do have like an audience in Turkey, like I was a great fit to help that company um, find its identity. Um, I got my O1 through that company, and now with my own company, Rogdak, also going really well, we are trying to switch to EB1A because like this country is where I want to spend my life in, basically.
Right, right. And of course, the EB1, the green card, is open doors that you won't be able to get on a regular visa because it's you have now you have a permanent residence, right?
I
That's
currently have a 3 year O1.
yeah, but once you get the EB1, you'll have permanent residence, which will open
Yeah,
more
I hope that,
opportunities.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah, you know, a lot of the stories that I hear from founders, they have a lot of sometimes difficulties and challenges, and some of them are because they moved to the United States, and some of them just because of the challenge of building a business and building a company. Maybe you can share with me some of the challenges you got as somebody moving from Turkey to America first year and trying to do a business here, and of course the other challenges in actually building a business.
I see. So to be honest with you, after like coming from a heavily bureaucratic company, building a business in here felt so much easier. Also running it because I feel like a lot of tools are modernized and a lot of big companies already help you go through this bureaucratic process, like registered agents, mail suit addresses and everything. Like you can pay your troubles away to have like professionals and like systems set you up to run your business. I think bigger challenges for me was figuring out how to communicate with people, how to, act
It's a challenge.
socially and like learning about social structures and behaviors and understanding the things people say to you and stuff like that. I think like adjusting to social life and daily life was harder uh, than like setting up my business personally. Because as I said, I think since the capitalism level of this country is pretty high, the paths that you have setting up companies and stuff are like pretty streamlined, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think on itself it is a challenge where you have cultural differences or the things that we do, how we communicate with other people, and sometimes especially East Coast and West Coast, different people, different you know how it is. I hear that also from founders. I'm curious to think. If you are right now in the process of in your industry, video gaming, media, there's a lot of AI right now. There's a lot of tools that people are using. What do you think is the future of your industry right now in terms of where it's going and how people that are looking to get into this industry right now? Like somebody listening to the show, like what, I want to do what you're doing. What are some of the things you would advise? Well, first of all, let's talk about the future of this industry. What's happening, like some of the changes and some of the advances because of AI, probably, or other things.
Yeah. So we're in an interesting place so I mean indie games, not just like because video games is a huge category, but like we have mobile games, we have AAA games. I mean the indie zone, and the indie zone is growing super fast. But people are scared that it's growing too fast because last year almost 20,000 games were released on Steam, and this number keeps increasing. And as you mentioned, with the AI, creating things has become so easy that it's gonna probably grow even faster now because it used to be like you need huge teams to make games. Then tools get better, now you need smaller teams. And now with the AI, you can be a one-man powerhouse. You can generate
Oh
your
wow!
images with AI, your dialogue with AI. AI can write your code. AI can make your game design. The question is the quality, but it looks like quality keeps increasing. and productivity keeps increasing.
Yeah.
So in this boom, like creation boom, will there be enough consumers? Will there be enough time to consume all the games that are being created? So it's a bit scary, and I don't know what's going to happen, but AI definitely is enabling a lot more gamers to become game creators, basically.
Right. Now you mentioned the indie genre of your games. What is it exactly, and how is it different than others popular genres in the video
Yeah.
gaming?
You can think of it like a Hollywood versus YouTube, where Hollywood movies are like millions of dollars of budget and hundreds of people and famous
Yeah.
actors. And it's this big budget games that are known globally, versus indies are like more niche, more refined for a smaller audience,
Yeah.
made by like a little bunch of people with less money, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of like indie film in a way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's the
The
same
same
thing.
term.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. I had no idea that it's.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine that because it's a niche, there's going to be more loyal fans who are going to be drawn to this particular industry. So you think that especially where we have founders that are coming here, they have very similar profile where many of them have college degrees, or at least they spent some time in university and then they dropped out and they're building their businesses. Do you think there's going to be a need for formal college education moving forward, especially for people who want to come into your industry, designing games, YouTube, producing stuff like that? Do you see the value of college education, or it's going to be kind of like we're going to be entering a new phase, both in the United States but also globally, as our worlds collide?
Yeah. So I do not think college education in most parts of video game making is critical. You can definitely become a game designer or an artist or a programmer or a writer without going to college. I think what's more important right now is investing yourself in this, and like using AI well, and like training yourself well. But I do think college is a great experience on its own, and it helps you with networking. If you have like good mentors, it definitely speeds you up on this track. So college is still a super viable way, especially if you're like a, I don't know, a programmer maybe, or if you're gonna become like a lawyer or something like that, needs like definitely needs a degree, right? Because we also need like lawyers for like end user agreements and stuff in video games. But for the most part, you can get into the games industry, and you can make your own games from 0 to 100 without ever stepping into the college.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought. I mean, it's more of it's a cultural thing, so people come from. We have a lot of. I spoke to a founder from India, and he said there's no way in the world that he wouldn't go to university because it would be a shame for his family, even if he made a lot of money later on. The education part is still sometimes stays in the people's mind as a cultural achievement, no matter how much money you made later on in your business. But that line blurs as we continue to advance with technology and things like that. A lot of the young founders that listen to the show and they are listening right now overseas, what would you give piece of advice for somebody who is building something in Europe, in Asia, somewhere in the world, and they're thinking about maybe coming to the US one day? What's one thing that you would give, one or two things of advice for people to know before they make the leap of actually coming here?
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is basically keep producing. Like whatever you are making, you gotta keep making it. And like action produces information. A lot of people wait for information first to get into the action, like to start creating things or start trying. But once you try and fail, you get a lot of information from that. And as you try that and try that and try that, now you have like things to show for it. You have information, you have experience, and like you will feel much more ready to take this leap of faith. You are gonna have this belief in yourself that I can try this, I can do this, like I can go there and I'm successful. If you have this founder's mind, I think having a basket full of experiences is really valuable.
And what about building the network while you're? Did you do anything, for example? Obviously, in your industry, you have a lot of gamers and a lot of people that can push your games who are based outside of Turkey. Did you start building your network before coming here?
Yeah, so I'm not a super network-y person, to be honest, but as you know, like with O1 and EB1A, you need strong letters of recommendation from
Absolutely.
people who are good in their industries. So the network that I had, even though not like I'm not aspiring to create network, like I'm not focused on that, the ones that I had hugely helped me. Those founders of other companies and the CEOs and everything, their letters, and being able to ask them like, hey, like, could you reference me on this for the US government is a big favor, and how being able to get them was really helpful. So yeah, I do think it is critical to have a network. Yeah.
Very good. I think it's a good advice because people don't realize that you never know when you're going to need somebody to help you, and especially now with when you apply for the O1, EB1A, even applications for joining the incubators, the startup incubators. They want you to give references, so it's important to build your network and your helping people or requesting advice is essential to start because you never know when you're going to need these people in the future.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, there are one of the questions that I asked. There's one question we always ask the same question, all the guests. And this is, if you had to go back to your 14-year-old self, Dora, living in Turkey, middle school, what set of skills would you say you would have acquired at that time that could have helped you today in your entrepreneurial journey? Like, what are the things that you would have benefited more by doing that you didn't do as a 14-year-old that could have helped you today in your journey as a founder?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I guess I would have told him to focus more on accounting and running a business because like I'm more of a artist type, like in I like chasing ideas, and like my studio is very indie and very free spirited. It's not very structured, but learning about taxes and cash flow and everything is really hard. And if I had a earlier start on that, it would be helpful. But I'm gonna add like a little bonus thing. When I was in middle school, because we didn't have like cell phones and handheld consoles in the school, we would make video games on paper. Like we would basically design board games to play among ourselves, and that has helped me greatly to become a game designer. So basically, any like random hobby that you feel inclined to do when you were a kid could turn into like a super useful skill later on. So I think chasing your dreams and having fun is actually helping you have a career as a kid. Yeah.
I like that. Amazing. And it seems like you had a good, balanced childhood that obviously gave you a foundation for what you're doing today. Dora, as we come to the end of our show, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you or connect with your company? If you have a website or you prefer them to follow you on social media, whatever you want to share, we can put it in the notes of the show. But if you want to verbally say it,
Oh
um,
yeah, thank you so much. So since I make content in Turkish, I don't think a lot of your audience will be interested. But if they like indie games and especially roguelike or strategy or cozy games, because as you know, like currently a lot of people are dealing with stress. What we did was switch from serious games to much more like cozy and relaxing and lo-fi games, so people can take their minds off work and stress and like have a little chill time. If you're into those kind of games, you can find us on Steam by searching Rogue Duck or rogueduck.net. And thank you so much for
perfect. I will make sure to link all this in the show notes, and for people, because like I said, we have such diversity of guests. I think it'll be very interesting for people to search and to learn about your journey. Once again, Dora, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm going to be I'll take a check. I'll take a look at some of your games as well, and continue to follow your journey. I'm sure that you will, we'll be hearing about you in the future as well.
Thanks so much, Jacob.
Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch. And thank you guys for being on the show, and the show will be released very soon. Show notes are also linked as every week, as we always do.